Alright, hey, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about circles and tangents. Now everybody knows what a circle is, but not everybody knows what a tangent line is. See, a tangent line is any line that intersects a curve or maybe something like a circle or some other type of figure one time and one time only. If you want to think about it in an easier way, then it's kind of like the line comes in, touches, and then sort of biffs off into the distance for the rest of forever. Now, tangent lines are important in a lot of different domains, especially in calculus. See, we study tangent lines because the slope of the tangent line is the same as the slope of the curve at the point of intersection. That's very useful to us. But if you're here, you're not really worried about no calculus, are you? So let's take a look at some of the geometric consequences of tangent lines. For now, we'll keep our attention focused squarely on circles. You see what I did there? That's called a contextual joke. You should be laughing right now. Oh, forget it. You kids don't know nothing. Anyway, there are two main relationships that we care about between circles and tangents, and you can see them both here on the screen. The first has to do with radii. See, if a radius of a circle touches in the same place that a tangent touches a circle, then the two things are going to intersect at a right angle. In other words, tangent lines and radii can only intersect at 90-degree angles. That's very useful information. We're going to be calling on that in just a little bit. The other one has to do with intersecting tangent lines. See, the distances from the point of intersection of two tangents and their points of intersection with the circle are congruent. In other words, those two red segments on the screen there have to be congruent to each other because they start out in the same spot. Now, I ain't going to be digging into no nitty-gritty here about why this thing actually works. We're not here to figure out the why, we just want to figure out how to use this information. One way to prove this is to use CPCTC. But for now, just take my word for it. It's not like you were going to do anything different anyway. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at some examples of how we can use these two facts to help us solve some common problems. Alright, so our first problem here has to do with finding the measure of an angle. Now, it may not seem like it, but we already know some very useful information. First of all, we're looking at a triangle here, and the sum of the interior angles of any triangle is equal to 180 degrees. We also know that side LN is tangent to the circle, so that means this angle L here is equal to 90 degrees. So how are we going to find the measure of angle M? Well, we add all the angles together, set them equal to 180, and solve, right? M is equal to 4x, L is equal to 90, and N is equal to x minus 20. Of course, these are all angles that I'm talking about here, and yes, we got to set them all equal to 180. Keep in mind these parentheses are here to help us stay organized so we can see which parts of the equation came from which angles. They serve no mathematical purpose, so here we could just get rid of them. Now we're going to combine our like terms. 4x and x is 5x, 90 minus 20 is 70, equals 180. This is a normal equation we can solve now, folks. Start by subtracting 70 from both sides, like so. This gives us 5x is equal to 110, and then to get x by itself, we're going to divide everything by 5. We get for this x is equal to 22. Now remember, we weren't looking for x, we wanted the measure of angle M. M is defined as 4x, we got a value for x. Let's just go ahead and plug into that. So the measure of angle M is equal to 4 times 22. aka 88 degrees. So this problem dealt specifically with triangles, but you can generalize the process out really to any polygon. All you need to know is the sum of the interior angles of whatever polygon you're looking at. Just take your angles, add them all together, and set them equal to the sum of the interior angles, solve for x, and then if you have to find an angle measure, just plug your x in. Of course, any angle formed by a radius in a tangent line is going to equal 90 degrees, so that's really the only wrinkle you got to remember. Alright, I think I said everything I need to say about this particular topic, so let's move on to a very similar example problem that asks us to find the length of a segment as opposed to the measure of an angle. So like I said, this time we're trying to figure out the length of a side as opposed to the measure of an angle. In this example here, we want to figure out the length of side QR, that would be this side right here. If you're paying attention, when it says find QR, there's no line segment over QR. That's not a typo. That means that we're looking for the length of the side. That ain't really important to this problem, but, notationally speaking, you should know the difference between these things. Continuing with the task at hand, we do know some information here. Again, we're dealing with a triangle, and again, one of the sides of the triangle is tangent to the circle. This means that the measure of angle R is equal to 90 degrees, which means the triangle QRS is a right triangle, and that means we can use our good old friend the Pythagorean Theorem to figure out the length of the missing side. Our task here is to figure out what's A, what's B, and what's C. 5 is the leg. We're going to call that A just for convenience sake. And our 13 is the hypotenuse, so we're going to put that in C squared, which means that our missing side QR is going to go with B. 5 squared is 25. 13 squared is 169. We want to solve for b squared. Start by subtracting 25 from both sides, like this right here. And that is going to give us a next step of b squared is equal to 144. We have a squared term over here. If you want to solve a squared problem, you take the square root from both sides. Don't be doing nothing silly like dividing both sides by b. B is equal to 12, and again, B was equal to the side length QR, so QR is equal to 12. Now, hopefully you caught all that, but, if you're doing work with tangents and circles, you've probably done a lot of work with the Pythagorean Theorem by now. All right, let's move on to one more example that's going to talk about intersecting tangents. All right, this time we're given two tangent segments that originate from the same point, and we're asked to solve for x. Using what we know about this particular situation right here, this segment is the same length as this segment right here. So, if we want to solve for x, our procedure is going to be taking the two expressions, setting them equal to each other, and solving. In other words, 15x minus 20 is equal to 7x plus 12. Now, to solve, when we have variables on both sides of the equals, we need to bring the smaller variable over to the bigger variable. We do this in this case by subtracting 7x from both sides. This gives us 8x minus 20 is equal to 12. Again, normal solving problem. We want to get x by itself. Move the constant over. Add 20 to both sides here. That gives us 8x is equal to 32. And then to solve for x, we divide both sides by 8. This is going to give us a final answer of x equals 4. Alright, so if you were asked to find the actual lengths of the segments, which we weren't asked to do here, but if we were, we would have taken our value for x here and plugged it into one of the expressions from the problem. We get to choose because this value for x hypothetically makes 15x minus 20 and 7x plus 12 equal the same thing. I say hypothetically because if we didn't do our work right, then they're not going to come out to the same thing. But guess what? We did our work right. Anyway, that's how solving works, folks. It's not a mystery anymore. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. Just keep in mind that anytime you have problems that have to do with tangents and circles, it comes down to either the fact that the radius and the tangent intersect at 90-degree angles, or that intersecting tangents have the same length. You'll notice that there's kind of a variety of problem types here, which means that unfortunately there's no fixed set of steps for these things. In other words, you're going to have to use your brain. I'm sorry, I know it hurts sometimes, but it's a thing that you're going to have to do. And with that, I think I am going to say that I am officially sick and tired of this stuff for now. So, I'm out. Later!